get a job.
Yes, yes, yes. Another week has come and gone. Well, welcome once again to the Gospel Jazz Connection. I'm your host, D Nice. And you know what? We're getting to hear from a little Tobacco Road, you know, with old times, the old school. Those were the places that we knew. Those were the places that we visited. That's where music formulated from the spirit to the soul. And that's what we bring to you when we come in with Gospel Jazz Connection each and every week. What we do is we bring situations to the table, problems that you might have on your mind. We want to hear. There's a time to just let them all sit on a shelf, a time to just recalibrate, so to speak. And then you hear the music in the background. The music soothes the savage beast. And we have a panel of experts that talk about their experiences, and they give you viable solutions on how to get over these trials and tribulations in your life. And what you do with this information is you put your style, your twist on it, and at the end of the day, you will leave here better off, hopefully, than it was when you first came on. Once again, my name is D Nice. This is the Gospel Jazz Connection, and we got a good show for you today. Now, going to our first host that's here each and every week with us. This young lady, let me tell you what, we were blessed to be able to get her because she came from the scene called corporate America, where she was in charge of running things. A woman in charge, getting things done. She came from there and decided to let go and let God. And she found herself in the corporate world doing the corporate training aspect of it. And from the corporate training aspect of it, then she was able to do what she does best. She started her own program to help train people and motivate people, and she became a motivational speaker. She is a coach, business coach. She coaches people on how to write books. She has several award-winning books. One of her biggest we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, Loving Yourself First. And it's a woman's guide. So guys, look, you're not exempt. If you want to have that happy life by having a happy wife or that girlfriend that's happy, find out about her. Get Linda's book also, Loving Yourself First, on how to talk right to a woman instead of all this craziness they hear. I'm sure they're tired of it by now. But anyway, Linda is a grandmother. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's a woman of God. And above all, she's here with us today to help us share the good word on how to change your life. Here on the Gospel Jazz Connection, help me welcome Miss Linda Coleman Willis. Linda, how you be?
I be.
You be, huh?
I be good.
You know, I heard that, huh? So, we got a good one today.
We have a great show today, D. Jiviata Jenkins is going to be here. She's a strategist coach, and she works with CEOs and executives all across the country. And she's going to tell us how to get out of our own way. Now, I know a lot of us out there don't always realize when we're in our own way, so Jiviata has a message for us.
I like that.
We also have in the studio right now Pastor Barrett and First Lady Barrett. Mm-hmm. And let me just tell you a little bit about the pastor. From the streets to the feds to the pulpit is Michael Barrett's life journey through the material possessions, women, money, prison, trials, and tribulations. Because of his choices, he made a bed for himself that he was forced to lie in as a young man. When it came time for him to reap from all the wrong that he sowed, he had no idea that he would have to spend 18 years of his life in federal prison for running a drug organization. Finally, the false reality he had been chasing after for so long had revealed its true identity. And along beside Pastor Barrett is First Lady LaKesia Barrett. LaKesia Rambo Barrett is not just a gospel recording artist. She's the First Lady of Do Right Christian Church, a wife, a mother, a mentor, and the leading lady actress in the movie Beyond the Shield. Her new single, For Me is set to be released at the end of this month, and we welcome you both to the Gospel Jazz Connection today.
Thank you.
What a story. What a God story.
Amen.
Yes, indeed.
Amen.
Go ahead and just kind of tell us what this is all about.
Just thanking God for the opportunity once again to be on the show. I met D Nice a few years ago, and he blessed us to be in his presence, and we're just thankful to be here. So we want to just thank everybody for allowing us to be here at KTYM. This season for my wife and I, this is just truly a time where God has shown His grace, His mercy, and a season of restoration. Amen. And we're just living examples of what can happen when you just yield yourself to God. Put yourself at the altar and say, Lord, I've been running so far, so long, and I'm tired of running. I want to surrender, and I just put myself at the altar and just have your way with me. And so that's where I believe, and I can speak for my wife as well, that's where we are. We're just in that place where we have both come through a wilderness experience, and now we're just in the presence of God, and we're so thankful and grateful that God decided to choose us and bring us together for such a time as this.
Amen.
Wow. Pastor Barrett, there are a lot of people that listen to this show, and I'm sure there are some young men out there that may find themselves in the position that you found yourself in. Do you have a word for them?
Life is all about choices. I had a praying mother. My mother's still alive. Thank God for that. She used to always tell me, you need to go to college. You need to, get a relationship with the Lord. And I just didn't have time for that. So there's a lot of young men that's out there. They might not have that mother. They may have that grandmother or somebody that's pouring into their life and telling them, listen, don't go down that alley. I've been down that alley. But our human nature says, no, I want to go down there and see what's down there, and I just encourage that young man. There's nothing down there but heartache and pain, and the young women who chase that man with that money, that false reality, because when you chase after that, the devil has the carrot and he's just dangling in it, and he's allowing you to be baited in, and God is constantly warning you. You see the warning sign. So I encourage that young man that's being misled by somebody who he thinks have a love for them, but how can the blind lead the blind? So I would encourage them to just, stop in your tracks where you are right now. We see, just a brief, quick note, a lot of guys are talking about this young rapper guy who portrayed himself as a killer and all of these different things with the tattoos on his face and everything. And right now he's in court and he's telling on everybody to get out of the situation. So I say that to say the reality is people talk about this stuff, but there is a reality behind it: death, prison, being away from your family. And I want to encourage somebody to say, you know what, that's not the life that I want. I do want something better for me and my family, for my children, and I don't want to have to sacrifice years of my life in a penitentiary, or worse than that, in a grave somewhere.
Amen. Amen. First Lady, you want to share us?
Hello.
This is a heck of a story. Look, a lot of people can be motivated and inspired by that story, because so many people believe that once they've messed up, or maybe their life, that there's no way back. But you're living proof.
Yes, ma'am.
Most definitely.
Yes.
Well, I'm doing next Saturday, the 28th, my first women's luncheon entitled "I Am More Than a Trophy." And the reason I'm choosing "I Am More Than a Trophy" because I would have been the woman to who my husband used to be, the woman that was taken care of, the woman that was looking to be a trophy. But what happens when men are looking for the cute face and the slim waist, and you're trying to be a trophy, is once they win that trophy, they place you on a panel still, and they hardly ever clean you off. They win the NFL and the NBA rings, and they never wear them. So the women need to know that they're more than a trophy, that, you are a trophy, but you're more than just that. You're more than just a prize to be won. After you are won, then you still need to be nourished. You still need to be loved. And oftentimes, as the women that date the men that are in the streets, they are trying to be down. So they're trying to do whatever it takes to be with with that man and whatever that looks like, and they're in competition with other women instead of learning each other and embracing each other. I want to see the women that embrace each other and that's telling the women, the young girls, the truth about, listen, I'm not in competition with you. You know, you can have a man that like a fat girl, a light girl, a big girl, a short girl, a tall girl. Because if he's not in his manhood and he's just in a malehood, because there's a difference between a man and a male, then he's out there and he's got you running around and he's running around, and then the world is messed up, and we're wondering why the world is so messed up. It's because the women aren't understanding that they're more than a trophy, and the men and women are chasing false realities. So, you know, once my husband and I got together, we have both been broken. And so what we are doing as a couple is teaching people how to take two broken pieces and put it together and make one whole. And I never want to see him hurt the way I've hurt, and he never want to see me hurt the way he's hurt. And so, you know, to God be the glory.
You know what? God he's awesome, because our last two shows have been basically about the same topic. And what did we say? Two halves don't make a whole. You have to have two holes to have a whole.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
I mean, just right on point with what we've been saying all week.
Yes,
God,
ma'am.
I mean, he works it out.
Yes, ma'am.
What a story.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. I think it's beautiful. The best way that you can be a down girl is to raise yourself up high and raise him up high along with you.
Hello.
You know, and move forward in the best manner. I'm sorry, I didn't even introduce myself. Von True here, music artist, TV show host, radio show host. I just want to dive in deep into your story. I want to know how long have you two been together?
So we've been together for 6 years, and we've been married for 5.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
How's that journey been thus far?
It's been an awesome journey. The difference between this journey and other journeys is because this journey has been ordained by God. You know,
beautiful.
I didn't go out looking for my wife in the club. I didn't get the hookup from a homeboy. You know, wasn't a blind date.
Amen.
You know, nothing like that. It was really like God handpicking her for me. And the Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. And so I said to myself, out of all the women that God could have chosen, why did he choose my wife?
You know,
so then there's something, and it's nothing. See, we would look and say, well, I'm prettier, but in all reality, when we think about the mind of God, God knows what I need at my side.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so this is a partnership in a sense of what God has brought together. That's why God took the rib out of Adam and created Eve. So that which was missing out of Adam, he needed, you know what I mean? And God put that rib right by his side to be that helpmate. And so together we have to take this journey step by step, trusting God, believing God, and having faith towards where we go.
But it's definitely been a journey, you know.
Absolutely.
It's been an amazing journey, but, you know, people see our Facebook posts and but they don't know that, you know, when we met each other, we both were at our bottoms. And so to be at our bottoms, especially for me, because I wasn't used to dealing with a situation like I was dealing with, and God put me on the bottom, and I actually wrote a prayer to God, and I asked him for a God-fearing man. I asked him for everything that I needed in a man. And so when I met my husband, he was in the halfway house, and that was like, okay, God, you want me to date a man in the halfway house? He said, no, I want you to marry him. I was like, no, see, I ain't laughing. You got a sense of humor. And what he said, so you're looking at the man, and I'm looking at his heart. And all that you have chosen have been wrong. And so now I'm choosing him for you. And there was a prophet that prophesied to me March the 3rd, 2013, before I ever knew my husband exists, that there was a man in prison. And God said he needed to be there, and he was going to come home and change my life. I got up and ran out the church. And I'm like, y'all in my business, right? And so when that came to me, and it was clear, and God spoke to me, and everybody's like, yeah, did God speak to you? No, listen, if you ask God certain things and you stretch out, he will talk to you. It's just about, are you listening? Are you hearing him? You know what I'm saying? People be like, oh, something said or something told me. No, it wasn't something. It was God. And I was at the point that I knew it was God, because I had died to myself. I had relinquished all of the things that I thought I needed and that I wanted, and I was only dealing with the things that I needed. And so a lot of times, women, we try to choose our men. And that's not biblical. It says, he that findeth a good wife findeth a good thing. Now, I didn't lower my standards for my husband. My standards were high, and I expected my standards to stay there. And so God gave me a husband that raised up. And so I know now, I have a single out called For Me. And in my song, it's like, what you have for me is for me. And that's what I know God is done. He's given me a husband that is for me. Like, nobody else couldn't handle me the way my husband can, because he knows how to handle me, and I know how to stand up, and I know how to pull back, and so it was definitely God ordained.
Absolutely.
Did you hear that testimony last week?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm serious. I was telling them that I had stepped back out of the dating game
Yes,
because
ma'am.
my eyes kept deceiving me.
Yes, ma'am.
And I actually prayed, and
Yeah.
I said, Lord, don't give me what I want.
That's right.
Give me what I need. I
need.
still got my prayer,
That's what-
girl. I'm afraid.
Hey,
that prayer.
ladies, hey, there's two of us sitting here saying,
on.
you know, hey, and the package may not come the way you think it should, or when you should, or how you think it should.
Yeah.
But Lord, when it comes and it's right,
Yeah.
your whole life changes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
When God sends it to you,
Yeah.
He's not going to send you something halfway. But He had to know that in the old life that my husband had, he was used to a lot of things. In the old life that I had, I was used to a lot of things. But he had to know that he could trust us.
Absolutely.
And so he had to know that everything that we're building from the bottom up. And we're building that everything that we have gotten has been a gift from God. Even our talents. And God will make room for your talents. But he wanted to see if we were going to be humble enough to just let him.
And the way that you came together, when you said that you were at your bottom, he was getting it together, you know, building that foundation is extremely huge. And the fact that you were building it together, that gives him the amount of trust and understanding of how you can grow, and knowing that no entity, nothing can break a divine union.
Yes.
You know?
And one of the things too that people need to know is that sometimes when you have something, you think you did it. Right? That's the first thing we say, I. And we have to realize God will strip you down to nothing.
Come on.
Right? And so when you're down that low, you have to look up. And as you look up, you realize how much you need God. And so the most important part is, as God begin to elevate you, you stay humble.
Yes.
You have a mindset that I'm still here because you're grateful from where he brought you from. And a lot of times people don't give God the glory from where he brought them from. You know, we want to pretend as if we're already here. This is who we are, and never no. But when you're transparent and say, you know what, we was here.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
this is where God brought us from. Now people can see and say, wow, if God did it for them, he can do it for me.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and that's where we are.
And we want to give a shine on that glory right now as we listen to your
Amen.
new single,
Amen. Amen.
For Me Not.
Maybe even more. You made death go. What you got for me is for me.
I'ma tell it, yeah.
What you got for
Me is for me. And I don't really care what them people say.
what you got for
Me is for me. Wow. What you got for me is for me. Everything I've been through, Lord, I owe it all to you. The good and the bad. Your grace and your mercy has truly changed me, and now I am free. You take my dark nights, you turn them into light. Now I'm like a little butterfly. See, I can fly, and you're the reason why. What you got for me is for me. I'ma tell it, tell it, tell it, tell it, tell it.
What you got for me is for me.
And everywhere I go, and all the people I meet.
What you got for me is for me.
And when you look at me, all they will see is God did
What
it.
you got for me is for me.
Mommy, is it true that I can be anything in this world that I want to be? Don't let nobody ever tell you that you can't do what you want to do. God got your back, and He give you a talent. He give you the permission to do it. So keep moving on. I've been there and I've done that, and I know that without a fact, your love and your mercy is all that I'll ever need. All I'll ever need, yeah. Been there and I've done that, and I know that without a fact, your love and your mercy is all that I'll ever need.
What you got for me is for me.
I gotta tell it, yes, I gotta tell it.
What you got for me is for me.
It's mine, it's mine, it's all mine.
What you got for me is for me.
It's all for me. All I'll ever need. Lord, I thank you for my grace. Thank you for watching over me. Thank you for loving me. Woo!
Even better that live, yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I told you it was live,
I was
right?
like, oh no, that's instrumental. Hey, you gotta stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You
Okay,
hear?
okay. So inspirational,
Thank
so
you.
motivational. That is such a beautiful song.
Thank you so much.
That is such a beautiful song, and to understand your inspiration behind it is just amazing. It's very heartfelt. And would that have been your daughter's voice? in
So
the background?
that's my 8-year-old Kimora. She comes on and she said, "Mommy, is it true that I can be anything in this world that I want to be?"
Oh,
and I say,
beautiful.
"Yes, baby, it's true. You could be anything you want." She said, "Okay, Mommy, I love you."
Yes.
So just being able to. You're always telling your children that they can be anything they want to be. So I needed to have her to be a part of that so she can understand that you can be. And that's what God wants us to know. But you got to stay in your lane. You can't do anything and everything, but you can do all things through Christ. Sometimes people want to be all over the place, but ultimately we have to stay in our lane and, make room for God's gifts.
In these last few minutes or
Yes,
seconds
ma'am.
here, tell us how to get in touch with you and how to get those tickets for that luncheon that you were talking about.
Okay, so my Facebook is LaKesia Barrett. My tickets are on Eventbrite, and my email is lrb1ministries@gmail.com. And my luncheon is I Am More Than a Trophy. The tickets are $40, and it's next Saturday, the 28th. My song For Me has just been released on iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, all the media, social media outlets. You can get my song. It was just released today on Apple Media and iTunes. So I'm super excited.
Congratulations.
And so you can get go on my Facebook, LaKesia Barrett, and all the information for the song and the women's luncheon is on there.
Amen.
Well, we know we're going to be hearing from the two of you. I'm telling you,
you.
that was
Amen.
so inspirational.
And my husband is being installed as the pastor of Do Right Christian. His installation service is next Sunday, September the 29th at 3 p.m., 1840 South Wilmington. It's going to be done at Love and Unity, which is our original home church. And so our apostle, Ronald C. Hill, is passing him over to as his son in the ministry. So let you Say
Amen. And you can also find us every Sunday at 9815 South Vermont, Do Right Christian Church, 8:30 a.m. Awesome service. You can find me on Facebook, Michael Pastor Barrett. You can also go to Do Right Christian Church on Facebook, on social media, and we invite you to come out to fellowship with us. And God is good, and we just thanking God.
Congratulations to the both of you.
Thank you so much.
Great
Thank you so
successes.
much.
Yes.
Thank you
And
for
if you
having
can't
us.
read a shirt, it says the world will make you do right. Okay? Okay?
Make you do right.
Yes.
That's right.
Thank you
Amen.
so much for being here with
for
us.
having us.
Yes, thank you
for
so
having
much.
us. God bless you.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and transition. We're going to have you listen to a few tunes first, and then you'll see us real soon.
All right. God bless you. Thank you.
Hi, and welcome back. Von True here. Miss Monica, lovely face, decided to join us. Thank you so much for being here with us. And we have another special guest in the building this evening, Miss Linda. Let's hear a little more about that.
Oh, okay. All right. So now we spoke about her earlier, Jiviata Jenkins. Jiviata is a strategy coach. Her book entitled Get Out of Your Own Way, Create the Next Chapter of Your Life, shares wisdom gained from her stellar career in aerospace, starting as an engineer and culminating as an executive. Get out of your own way. Wow. The message, don't let others define you. Decide what you want and go for it. Great.
Yes.
Now, my first question is, Get out of your own way. I know a lot of people, when they're having challenges, we often look outside to see who we can blame, right? It's always somebody else's problem.
Absolutely.
Does that title suggest that maybe, perhaps, we're getting in our own way? What are the signs or the clues that a person should get to know that they are actually you as an executive coach, I'm a business coach, we can't tell people when their business is in trouble, it's your fault. You can't do that. So we have to define the problem and the solution and let them figure out that they're so what are those clues that people are in their own way?
Well, to start with, when you are in your own way, you're thinking negative thoughts about what's going on in your life, or I can't do that, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, or somebody said I couldn't do it.
Excuses.
Lots of excuses for what's going on and why. And in a lot of cases, you aren't really paying attention to what's going on around you. So you do business coaching. I do executive coaching, where I'm trying to help people with their leadership skills. And you can't lead somebody else if you can't figure out what's going on yourself. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it is, how do you help the person see what's going on right in front of them? And we all get in our own way sometimes. We talk ourselves out of things that could help us, or things that we want to do.
So is it more physical or mental? It sounds like it's like maybe mental.
It's a lot mental.
A lot mental. Yeah. Okay.
And it could be physical too, because we all have places in our body where we feel things. Like my intuition, I think, is in my stomach.
It is.
And other people's intuition is someplace else. It doesn't have to be there, but mine is there. So you have to think in terms of, I can do this. And my philosophy when I'm coaching my clients is, I start with what is, where are you now, what's going on, and what if you could change something so that no matter what was going on, or whether or not how much money was involved or anything, what would you like for your day or your life to look like? And then what really matters to you. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's not, and a lot of times it's a balance, and how do you keep that? And then what works, and what steps can you take to move in the direction you want to go? And then we start all over again.
Okay.
Isn't that a form of insecurity, though? Isn't that a form of insecurity when you're in your way, because you're afraid to move forward?
Oh, absolutely. And, fear is... and we all have fear, and you have to be able to, if you are feeling some fear, your goal is probably not big enough. Because if you have no fear and you're feeling really, really comfortable, then you aren't trying hard enough. And we all need to grow, especially given the way things are now. If you're standing still, you're moving backwards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because technology is moving, yes. Companies are dissolving, being pushed out by. There's some of the things that I grew up knowing how to do, and I used to think I was a major computer whiz.
Yes.
Now I have to call people.
Yes, the technology keeps moving.
It has moved out of my range, so I have to get some help with things I used to be an expert at.
Okay, so Jiviata, when people figure out, okay, it's me, I'm standing in my own way, then what? How do they get out of their own way and stay out of their own way? How do they make those kinds of changes? Because change is not easy, right?
No, it's not. And you don't necessarily stay out of your own way. You get out of it a bunch of different times.
Okay. Because
things happen, situations change, and so you start by just saying, wonder what mine is. I wonder what it would be like if I could. And then I figure out one thing I can do to start moving in that direction. And now it's easier than it was when I was coming up. There was no internet except in the military sense, not like it is now, all ubiquitous and everybody can do it. So there's ways to find out what the opportunities are, what the possibilities are, how you start. And you have to be willing to take a step. Even if it's scary, And if it's not scary, then it's not big enough.
And willing to ask
That's
for
real.
help, right?
And be willing to ask for help.
Because
Absolutely.
I know as a business coach, businesses don't say, "Oh, I need a business coach." No, they say, "Oh, I have a problem
That's right,
and I
yes.
can't solve it."
Yes. I
Then
need
you
help.
need some help. Well, that's the challenge. Sometimes they won't ask for help until it's critical.
Right.
So so
Right.
part of what I'm sure you do and I do is to encourage people to reach out. It's okay, especially entrepreneurs, because most of the times, if you are smart enough and courageous enough to step out and start something on your own, sometimes they think they have all the answers, or they should have all the answers, and
But they don't.
They don't, but they think they should, and sometimes it prevents them from saying, "Hey, I need help." Usually, someone else will say, "Hey, he or she needs some help. Call her," or
Right.
sometimes they get to the point where, like I said, it's critical, and they'll call you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I know you deal with a lot of CEOs of major corporations. They can't be easy to say, "Hey, I need help," or "I need someone to come in."
Well,
pride.
but they actually need, and most of mine are in the senior manager to VP level, and it's folks that are on the rise or are going from one position to
Okay.
another, and they know that what got them here are not the same skills that will get them to the next level. And they call an executive coach to come and help them bridge that gap. So my people know they need help. And having somebody from the outside, for the most part, that they can trust, that they don't have to worry about anything they say coming back to haunt them, because you can't always talk to people from inside your organization.
That's true.
Because you never know who's going to decide to tell, well, so-and-so said such and such. Well,
Yeah.
they can come and talk to me about anything, and they know it's not ever going to come back to haunt them. And I will tell the truth, give them, and ask questions that help them figure out what's going on. Because half the time I don't know how to do what those people do, or what their
It's
their
not about
expertise
their
is.
business,
It's not
per
about their
se.
business. It's about, okay, how do you approach it? How do you deal with the people? What do you need to learn yourself? And just sometimes hearing themselves talk helps them to figure out what they need to do next. I never thought about that before.
Hearing them talk.
Just talking about what's going on that's important to them.
Oh, okay.
And then asking a question based on what they say.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this topic, get out of your own way. It brings up so many images in your head, right?
Yeah, the last one actually. I'm just like, yeah, actually, if you do listen to yourself talk and then question it, you're just like, oh, it enlightens you to maybe a way that you can elevate how you project yourself to your company. Would you say that being optimistic with a positive perspective is probably like number one key to getting out of your own way?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You really have to be, the powers that be are really looking for people who can come with at least a possible solution, not just a problem that you want somebody else to solve. You have to kind of look at the situation and figure out, well, okay, here's where we are. And sometimes, just like you say, hearing yourself say things helps you to process it. And because a lot of people process orally, but you can't process orally to a lot of the folks inside your organization.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you... What do you...
I'm thinking sometimes, like even when you're like say in the industry like you are,
Yes.
and you keep doing the same thing and it's not working for you,
Yeah.
but you are being stubborn and you're insisting that you're going to do it this way, you're still getting in your way too, and then it will hinder you.
Absolutely. You cannot, like for example, me, when I moved here, it was challenging because I was taking East Coast tactics and trying to use them on the West Coast, and that was not working for me in the best manner. I had to learn so many traits of, how to address certain people, how to build proper relationships, how to project my opinions in a in a way that it won't affect anyone emotionally, because in this
non-threatening.
yes, because in the industry that I'm in, like it's heavily relationship based, and a lot of people are dramatic and their emotions get involved and everything else. So that's huge. That's a very big thing when you want to drive into something new or elevate yourself. I want to know your kind of more of your background. Like, how did you get into writing this book?
I was one of the first black women, at least on the West Coast. I'm a West Coast hidden figure. I worked in the aerospace industry, started as an engineer, retired as an executive at an aerospace company here.
Beautiful.
And I always had people that worked for me, and I was always helping them with their careers.
And she was always the only woman, and especially the only African American woman.
Yeah.
It was always men.
Yes.
Doing what I was doing for the most part.
Wow.
And now a lot of my clients are still men. The men seem to realize if you could get through that for almost 40 years, you should be able to help me.
Is that how they bring you on? That's the test.
That industry is still mostly men.
That's right. It still is.
Because I know they did a report on it the other day, and they were saying it's 70% men.
Yes.
Mostly Caucasian.
Yes.
And there's 3% of us.
Yeah.
And then the rest is everybody else, 28%.
Yeah, I can believe that
Yes.
still. And I had thought that maybe by now things would have changed.
No,
'cause
not much.
I know. I talk to people all the time, and it seems like they're going in the wrong direction.
But they have a lot of STEM programs. They're really trying,
Yes.
But hey, women have never been that attracted to engineering. She and my husband has the same kind of left. I'm serious.
They work the same way.
I'm serious. They work the same way. An engineer, just think about it. They're analytical. They, it's a different processing of the brain. And not saying that women can't do it, but the STEM program, you did it. She did it.
You have to make them be excited about it. Because like an engineer was telling me the other day, he had us laughing in the room. He said that he went to an event and they gave out these airplanes, the F-35, which I work on, and they were giving them out to the children. And he said all the boys, they loved it. They were flying them around and running around with them. The girls were throwing them in the trash because they haven't been exposed to it.
No, see, I was always the unusual child because I would have loved to ride. Right. My favorite toy was an electric train. Okay. And I'm the one who would go under and look and see how things worked and whether or not I could tweak it and make it work better or break it and figure out how to put it back together.
Jiviata, if you were talking to young women today, then what would you say to them? Because, there are a lot of STEM programs, and STEM is science, technology?
Science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yes.
And what I would
kind of trying to prepare them for
what I would tell them is the best jobs, the ones that in the workplace make the most money, require you to understand how to do mathematics.
Yeah.
Period.
True. That's true.
And it was that way back then, and it still is. So for the most part, if you're going to school and you aren't doing something technological or moving in that direction, then you were being looked at as, oh, okay, so we're going to pay these people a whole lot of money. We need you, and so we're going to pay you a little bit of money so you'll stay. But we don't really care that much about your skill set if you can't either deal with the engineers and help to bring something else to market or do it yourself.
She is a graduate of UCLA and Women in Technology. She's still Women in Technology. I've gone to some of their events, and I'm sitting in the audience.
Are you lost?
With my eyes glazed.
What are they talking about?
Actually, they do break it down. They do. Okay. They really do. It's not that bad. But I've always respected that was her. She and I came up in National Speakers Association together, and to just watch someone operate in that space.
It's awesome.
It's awesome, and it's amazing.
You can use your book in that arena too, because a lot of girls don't think they can do that because they're in their own way.
Yeah,
they really are, and and society helps stay in their way too, because both men and women.
Not loving yourself first, though. We're trying to help them get out of their way.
Yes.
And so am I, because I participate in activities where I speak to both men and women, but we want to help the women, the young girls and the women, move into the STEM field, because that's where everything is headed. So I always have been on the cutting edge. I started all of this because I wanted to build robots for Disneyland when I was 16 and Disneyland was just opening up. I just told you guys how old I am, huh? Because most of the people that I talk to can't remember when there wasn't a Disneyland.
I can't remember when there wasn't a Disneyland.
I can. I know when it was built.
Okay. But then I'm from Texas, so maybe.
Okay, and I lived here all my life for the most part. So I watched them build it, and I called the Disney studios and said, "Can you tell me what it would take to be an audio animatronic technician?" Because that's what they called Disney Imagineers in the beginning.
I know, quite a title.
Words, it sounded out there.
Yeah.
Imagineers are fun too, but that just really just made me go, wonder what it would be like if I could do that. And all my life I've been asking, I wonder what it would be like if I could do that, and then figure out what step I can take to start moving in that direction. And that's what I tell everybody. Figure out what it is that you're interested in, and then try and start moving in that direction.
Yeah, and don't eliminate it before you give it a try.
Give it a try, and don't let other people talk you out of it.
Okay, especially if you feel it. If you feel it's right for you, make that motion. Stay open. Be willing to learn. Grow.
And be willing to experiment outside of the little circle that may have been drawn for you. And be able to. Now that's what I'm good at. Have always been like stepping outside the circle. Oh, everybody's supposed to be over here. Okay, I'm going over there.
Well, see, I was too. We just went on different directions, but we both went outside of our circles.
Right, right.
And you did too.
Yeah, I did. Because I'm in this arena because I worked in technology field too and still do. And so it's totally different by working in this world.
Yes. And when I went into coaching, that was different too, because I was used to proposals and everything being step by step.
Yeah.
But I usually ended up managing things because I could see all sides of the picture, and the engineers, each one had their little part, and I could see the whole thing and could pull it together. That's how I got promoted so many times, was because I would look at the whole thing and figure out how we could put the pieces together and make the whole thing. So now
and that's what coaching is. That's exactly
is what
seeing what people can't see. Because most of the times when you have a client, they're good at something, really good at something.
Yes.
But it's the thing the weakness that they're not seeing, that you can see and say, okay, they got it over here. Well, guess what people like to do? Stay where they really have it. They're comfortable. I got this, So they don't want. But things are falling apart around them, and that's what good coaches can see. You're right. You can see outside of that,
and you help
them to move, to make that move mentally and then physically.
Absolutely, because especially now, things are changing so rapidly. The people that will be best in whatever they do going forward will be adaptable, flexible, willing to unlearn something and relearn something else, to learn how to interact better with people, because you can be the best engineer sitting over here with your little equations and wondering, well, why isn't anybody recognizing that I'm good? Well, if you aren't talking, if you aren't interacting, if you don't have building relationships
skills,
nobody knows what you can do, or they're very happy to let you sit there and do the work so that they can get the promotion.
Yeah, because you will have corporate people tell you that they would rather have a person with that personality and teach them the skill.
Yes.
Yeah. Than have someone with that personality and can't get along with anyone and want to be out by themselves when it requires them to be part of a group.
Absolutely.
They're like, we can teach them the skill. So it is important.
It's very important.
I know one thing they've started doing in aerospace community was starting rotation programs where every 6 months you rotate into a different skill set.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they started doing that.
They didn't do that when I was there.
It's for 2 years. And it could be in your campus or it could be out of state at another facility. And it gives you the opportunity to see how that piece intermingles with your piece, because if you don't know, you're just working in your little area like you said.
That's right.
you don't feel like you're a part of the big picture because you can't see how it fits, and so then you're going to have that conflict
That's right.
with other engineers and other administrative people because you don't understand the big picture.
That's right. And as you move up the ladder, the more you need to understand what's going on around you and how other people's parts fit into yours, and vice versa.
I wanted to ask you before we give our final thoughts, what has been more challenging, the engineer half of it, or your experience growing up executives in their positions?
You know, growing the executives is really fun. And actually, when I was doing it, working with engineers was really fun. When it got to the place where it wasn't fun anymore, that's when I decided, okay, maybe I should retire and go into coaching, because I always liked helping people build their skill sets and enhance their careers. And I'm having so much fun helping people get from point A to point B and have people wondering, how did they do that? How did they switch from this to this so quickly? Because the skills that are good at level A might not be the skills that are the key success drivers for the new position that you're in, and you get there and fail.
Yeah. And a good coach or consultant coach can help you shave the time that it would normally take you on your own.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That would be a great reason that you would want a coach. And getting out of your own way, it will be an excellent reason.
Yes.
Because I think it's probably, I don't think there's anything more disheartening to discover that you're holding yourself back. There's enough elements out there. There are some true elements out there that are designed to hold you back. But just imagine discovering I'm holding myself back. That could not be a happy feeling. So, Jiviata, get out of your own way. I know it's the book. Go ahead and tell our audience how to get in touch with you and maybe a little bit about the book in the next minute or so.
Okay, the book is available through my website and through Amazon and any of the online platforms. My website is JiviataJenkins.com. And what else should I get? My phone number or my email address?
Email's good, yeah.
Email?
Yes.
Jiviata@JiviataJenkins.com.
And what will the book do for
the book will provide tools and strategies to help you get out of your own way to decide, where you're going, how you're going to get there, and to make your plan for how to start at least the actions that can help move you to the next step for you.
And would that be good for personal and business?
Personal and business.
Okay, it sounds like it would be great for, well, actually, I know it would be. I've read the book.
Yes, let's hear your thoughts upon it. Your final thoughts on it, Ms. Linda.
It would be very good. That's why I kind of asked the question that way, because I knew the answer. Because when you listen to us and we're talking about business, I started as a life coach, as Dee has said often, in personal growth and development. I started with personal growth and development, moved into professional growth and development because they go together.
They do.
Yeah, remember when we talked about loving yourself first and how people's lives, they were doing great in their careers and their personal lives were a mess. So they really mesh together.
They do.
Yeah. So I knew that answer when I asked the question.
Yes.
Hey, I'm getting out of my own way.
We was trying to get there with you.
No, yes. Oh, you girl, please. You're on your way. If you're not there, you're on your way.
Yes, you are.
You can't be in this radio. You've got room here and not. Okay, because we really had some great shows, and tonight is no different.
Absolutely. It's been an amazing show. Please let us understand your contacts and how we can get in touch with you.
Oh, me? Okay. Yes. All right. Linda Speaks. SPEAKS @AOL.com. That's Linda Speaks @AOL.com.
Lovely. And Miss M, how you feeling over there, girlfriend?
I'm feeling good. It's Friday.
Yes.
I know. Anybody out there that wants to get in touch with the show, you can reach us at gospeljazzconnection@yahoo.com, and you can ask for D Nice or Miss M. You'll reach us all day long.
Yes. Thank you for joining us with Gospel Jazz Connection this evening. I hope you had as much fun as we have, because it's been an amazing show. I'm Von Truhair. Thank you. Thank you for Miss Jiviata Jenkins for coming in as well. Thank you for Miss M. D. Nice, of course, trying to be all quiet in the corner over here, and Dorian Edwards as well.
Okay, and Pastor and First Lady Barrett.
Yes, Pastor and First Lady Barrett, of course, of course. Thank you for sharing your stories, your inspiration, and your music with us. Thank you. I hope you all have a great evening, great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
And like we say each and every week, put God first, and everything else will follow. I guarantee it.
Absolutely.